Florida Medical Association, helping physicians practice medicine.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for this David A. Paulus, MD, Poster Symposium Awards ceremony. And we certainly will always remember Dr. Paulus's contribution to this symposium. We're eternally grateful to him for his support and passion for engaging our students and residents and fellows in organized medicine and being the driving force behind this symposium. My name is Dr. Alma Littles. I am the Senior Associate Dean for Medical Education and Academic Affairs at Florida State University College of Medicine, and also serve as the chair for the FMA's Council on Medical Education, Science, and Public Health, which is a council that helps put on this symposium. This is our 16th poster event, and it's just amazing to think how many years have passed since the infancy of this program. When that first year, I think we had about 4 posters submitted. And this year we had 151 posters, 80 of which were clinical cases and 71 in research. And we also had many of our judges from the past years return, but also had some new first-timers join us this year. And we're also pleased to report that all of the Florida medical schools were represented in the submissions. I want to certainly recognize the leadership of the FMA for their continued support of this, because like everything else, resources are required to put on this symposium, and we thank them for their continued support year after year and helping to make this a success. And then a final thank you to the members of our Council on Medical Education, Science, and Public Health, the Committee on CME and Accreditation, our Resident and Fellow section, our Medical Student section, and certainly to our judges. We have 47 judges to volunteer this year. And this is an important part of this process, and we continue to solicit and make sure that we maintain an adequate pool of judges to help make this program successful. So we certainly thank them. And then to our participants, all of the students and residents and fellows who took the time to submit posters and share their research and scholarly activity with us. We thank them for making this a success. At this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Joshua Lynch, who this morning was elected as the president-elect of the Florida Medical Association. And I'd like to now turn it over to Dr. Lynch for a few words from FMA. Dr. Lynch.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Littles. On behalf of the leadership of the Florida Medical Association, I want to congratulate all of the poster participants, including obviously Dr. Littles and 47 judges. What an incredible work, a tireless effort that went into doing this. It's interesting that this is the 16th year. Dr. Littles correctly said that the first year we had 4 posters. I think I actually came in second that year. So I don't hold any hard feelings against anybody. 2 out of 4 is not bad. So I was much more competitive this year. I congratulate all of the poster winners that we'll show you momentarily. But really, this has grown into a tremendous event. It's one that the leadership, the executive committee, and the board is incredibly proud of. And like many things that we do in the Florida Medical Association, none of this would have been possible without the incredible work of our staff, led by our Vice President of Education, Melissa Carter. So thank you guys very much. Enjoy the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Lynch. And now I'd like to introduce mention our Surgeon General for the state of Florida, Dr. Scott Rifkes, who also is very supportive of this effort on behalf of our learners here in Florida. And we're hoping to have Dr. Rifkes join us before we complete the program this afternoon, but certainly did want to recognize him and thank him for his support of our efforts in this symposium. And so now what the purpose here is recognizing our symposium winners. And what we have, this was a tough job for our judges. We had some runoffs even that had to be dealt with because these were really high caliber, posters that were shared with us. And I know that as I went through several of them, I learned a lot. And again, thank the submitters for that. So we had 3 winners in each of the 2 categories. And at this time, I would like to announce those. So for the first group of winners, the top 3 posters for the clinical case category, we have Brooke Alexander from Nova Southeastern University, Karan C. Patel College of Osteopathic Medicine. And her poster was on bronchogenic cyst under the veil of an adrenal adenoma. Congratulations, Brooke. Next is Vincent Hsu, University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. The topic of the poster was pneumocystis jirovecii pneumonia in the setting of e-cigarette or vaping associated lung injury. Congratulations, Vincent. And then finally, Hassan F. Javeri at the University of Florida College of Medicine. And his poster is seropositive paraneoplastic myasthenia gravis associated with neurologic malignancy. So join me virtually in applauding these 3 winners for our clinical case category. And then next we have the winners for the research category. And again, there were 3. The first, Jamie E. Clark from the University of Miami Miller School of Medicine. Topic of the poster, impact of congenital heart disease on pediatric intracranial aneurysm formation and postoperative outcome. Next, Lake Lindo from the University of Central Florida College of Medicine. The topic, development of novel protocol for magnetic resonance imaging of the craniofacial skeleton in patients using advanced MRI techniques. And then finally in this category, Genevieve Palmer from the Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine. And the topic was defining the low risk values for epicardial fat volume as a marker of cardiovascular disease risk. So again, please join me virtually in congratulating the winners in the research category. And again, these were just outstanding presentations. So thank you to all of you and congratulations again. And at this time, I believe our Surgeon General has joined us. So I would like to introduce Dr. Scott Rivkes, Surgeon General of the state of Florida. Again, thank Dr. Rivkes for his support. Dr. Rivkes.
Dr. Littles, great to see you again. Everybody part of this forum, it's terrific to appear before you. Congratulations about what you're doing. I mean, what you're doing is so important. So in terms of my background, I was former chair of pediatrics at the University of Florida. My background's in pediatric endocrinology, and I am a basic science researcher. I got my first NIH grant in 1987 and still have NIH funding in an active lab going until present. So one thing that I know for sure in terms of what the word research means, and research means one thing, and that means research equals hope. And it's the hope for all the patients that you're taking care of now and all the thousands of patients you'll take care of over the time ahead. If you think about the importance of research, let's look at how we're getting out of this pandemic. And it's really through immunization in terms of vaccination. And it's remarkable how 3 vaccines, 2 messenger RNA vaccines, 1 adenovirus vaccine have been developed in such an incredibly short period of time. Previously, the shortest period of time when a vaccine was developed was about 4 years. So these messenger RNA vaccines really stand on the shoulders of incredible basic science research. If you think back in terms of messenger RNA, it's hard to believe that it wasn't until 1961 where Jacob and Menard discovered messenger RNA, for which they got the Nobel Prize in 1965. And here it is, more than 50 years later, where this really is addressing a 100-year pandemic. So continually, asking the right questions is so impactful. And being a scientist and focusing on medicine, there's no question that scientific principles really go into clinical care. And the wonderful thing about science and research, what you're doing, is it really gives you a chance to be creative and think about things. And having been in academics for a while at a number of different institutions, I will say this, I'll leave you with the charge. And the charge is this, is be creative, because you need to have free time to think about things, different ideas. And that's where, the light bulb, comes on, where you'll be able to get an idea that you'll be able to pursue later on. So be creative, continue to work hard, and when you have a great idea, continue to pursue it. So, those of us in research, many of us got our start as either undergrads or medical students. So this really is a special opportunity that you have. And let's go out and make a difference. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Rifkes, and thank you so much for your support of our learners. We really do appreciate that. And so finally, I know that Dr. Lynch has already mentioned it, but I also wanted to personally thank Ms. Melissa Carter with the FMA for all of the work she does to make sure that this all goes off without hitch. So I really do appreciate that from you, Melissa. And again, to all of those who presented posters, please keep coming back and encourage those at your institutions in future years to submit as well. And we certainly are hoping to have an in-person ceremony next year. The date is on the screen there, August 6th of 2022. Thank you all for continuing your work even through the pandemic. And as Dr. Rifke said, we will probably see more work coming from our learners here in the state of Florida regarding the pandemic and post-pandemic, and who knows, the discovery for really, getting to the end of this, or towards the end of it, could come out of Florida. And so we do appreciate that. This concludes our ceremony for this evening. We thank all of you who joined us and spent your Saturday afternoon with us. So let's go and continue with the remainder of the annual meeting this year. Thank you so much.
Florida Medical Association, helping physicians practice medicine.